Good afternoon. This is the Thursday, November 7, 2013 meeting of the Athens City Planning Commission. A quorum has been established with one member absent today. If there's anybody out in the audience who would like to address the commission today, can they just raise their hand and affirm that they promise to tell the Planning Commission the truth as far as they know it? Okay, great. Thank you.
I think you're sworn already.
Let's see, disposition of minutes. Did everybody have a chance to look through the minutes? Are there any changes, additions?
I did not see any. I move we accept the minutes
Second.
of October 17th,
Okay.
2013.
There's a second, okay. I have to sit that one out, I think. So,
Okay.
all in favor of accepting the minutes as they are?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And one abstention.
Okay.
Moving along, I've been asked to switch the order in communications and bring up the City Council recommendation for Title 23. Is there someone who's going to be speaking to that?
I can't speak to it.
Okay, great. Does he
Have
need
a
to?
seat or a podium.
And if you could just state your name and address, please.
I'm Steve Patterson, 18 Canterbury Drive. I have been going through and looking at code and have looked at a number of different chapters, but this one falls under Chapter 23, which is zoning code. And it's one word. It's a matter of substituting the word handicap with the word accessible in reference to a ramp. It was the only one that I found in the zoning code, and it's, in my mind, pretty simple and straightforward, and it's essentially following ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, as well as the Rehabilitation Act, to change the way we use our terminology when it comes to an individual living with a disability, or referring to parking spaces or building structures as being accessible ramps, accessible through-fare, accessible parking.
And this is a complement of 12913, where you're changing the other terminology within the other sections of the code.
Correct.
The only reason why we're discussing it really is because it's Title 23, which has to go through the Planning Commission, if I understand correctly. And the section of code you're looking at is 230308, D31I, I guess, which is handicap ramps may encroach on required yards in accordance to the following. And really, that's that one word, handicap, that you want to remove.
It is that one
So
word.
it's not that substantive, just a nomenclature change.
Just a nomenclature change.
It'd be amazing if there's only one.
I did a word search for handicap, and that you come up with quite a few, but this is the only one in 23.
Yeah, so, good.
If you, there's other ones in Title III, appointed officials for disabilities, Title 307 for community relations. I think there's increasing, let's see, what are the other ones we have here? We have 7, parking, special parking locations, 705. We have 35, which is miscellaneous provisions. And that's about it, I think. There's some large sections in the code that need to be changed. And again, it's just a word change, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
In this particular case, can you just drop handicap and just say ramps? Or does there need to be some sort of qualifying?
Well, if we want luges or skateboard ramps on the front of the houses, maybe we could...
No, it has to be qualifying. I will require a proof of medical proof to allow such a setback regulation or violation, I guess you'd call it.
There
So-
are 5 things under there, too, that you have to meet, so
Yes.
it might be good to, and it gives the zoning inspector lots of power.
So what was the word we wanted to institute or substitute?
Accessible.
Accessible.
Instead of handicap. And the irony is, of course, that this will come back to council to
Yeah.
adopt our recommendations. So
Is this something that we want to address when we finally flesh out the entire, or just go ahead now?
This is
No.
just a
This
simple
is
word
the-
change.
This ordinance that the mayor is referencing did address
Not to change our word.
Okay.
They've started the first reading of this already. That was
120
this past Monday.
You know, ordinance 12913 had its first reading last Monday evening.
And it's just bringing the word up to the again, nomenclature, the labeling up to date.
Correct.
Okay. It's not so substantive, we need to have a public hearing on this, I assume, right?
Okay.
I'm checking on that right now, Mayor.
Okay.
We don't ever have to have a public
Does council meet?
hearing.
I will do my homework.
Debbie Walker will know.
Those are the other sections in there, too.
Okay, so we're just using accessible there. Okay.
2309,
This,
230908, public hearing by city council.
It's council stuff.
all right.
This is the only section we need to put
For
in.
theirs, right?
Modify.
Okay, so we don't need to.
Paul, that probably refers to theirs.
They can do this.
Let's just move it and get it over with.
Okay.
You have a motion to change the word? Is that a motion?
I move to accept council's recommendation to substitute the word accessible for handicap.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
very
we'll
much.
go back
Easy
to you
to do
and it's
business
your
with.
role.
That's what they're doing right now,
Thanks.
resolutions, right?
Okay.
Let's see, before we get into Title 23 zoning code, was there anyone else who wanted to
Well, that'd
speak
be some count
before
on here.
the planning commission? Was you just saving your remarks, or, you can come up any,
I'll look into that more, too.
We all get one, huh?
Changing it already.
Good afternoon, John Valentour, RVC Architects, and I believe this is called a communication session here in terms of a project that is developing. And what it involves is the Lambourne's building on West State Street. It's in the B2D zone, uptown Athens. And right now, I mean, I've met with Paul and John on a preliminary basis, going over concerns they have and things that we need to look at. Right now, we're employing a surveyor to look at this property because of not discrepancies, but it's confusing when you look at the plat maps and compare them, the old plat maps to the new plat maps. I believe there's 4 pieces of property that are actually under one ownership on this site right here now. And you can see by all the angles, and it is not simple. And especially, I'm sure you will eventually go over and look at the situation, it's even more confusing because of buildings built on top of old foundations of other buildings and just trying to determine where things are. So before we go a whole lot farther, we're going to get actual definitive information on setbacks and where the property lines are. But essentially, what the job entails is keeping the front section about 2,000, 2,500 square feet as retail, and then taking the rear portion of this structure, which is actually, at one point in its history, used to be an auto dealership. So it was a slab on grade. It does not have a basement, it's concrete. We're turning into parking. And then we're going to add residential on 2 floors above. 20 bedrooms total. 10 2-bedroom units. Like I say, all this is predicated on the surveys coming out correctly. The information that we've been able to gain so far shows some discrepancies, like I indicated. The facade of the building will not change. It'll be enhanced, actually, and it'll be fixed up, but it will not be modified. The second and third floors will also be set back off the street considerably, so that while they, as Paul alluded to, that you will be able to see them coming down West State Street from above, but at street level, they will not even be visible.
So when you say set back, I have to assume that, is that going to be actually a functional, like, balcony? I hate to use
Well,
terrace, I guess.
yes, but it's going to be more like an enclosed terrace from your standpoint, because if you look over on the little elevation, front elevation, you can see the floor levels and where they're going to be. Right now, it's about 12 to 14 foot floor elevations, the ceiling height in the existing structure. The front part of the building has a higher ceiling than the rear part of the building. And We will actually, when you take off the roof at the rear section, lower the entire floor to 8 feet, so that in essence, the second floor will be below the elevation of the terrace deck at the street level. It's going to be set back all the way to the wall where the commercial ends, which is about 35 feet from the street. So you can see that the deck, the common deck level, is about 12 feet below the height of the parapet that's at street elevation.
Okay.
Could you define the common deck again?
The whole front, over top of a commercial section, will all be common space.
This is new second floor, the new common deck. There's a 3-foot difference between new second floor and new common deck? The common deck's the outside portion?
Yes. That's,
Okay.
that's based on the ceiling height of the commercial and the roof structure that would go on top of that.
Okay.
And keeping the same ceiling height on the inside of that front portion. Because of the high windows that they have in the front, and I guess you can't really see, but all the little squares there is all
It's like
glass block.
Yeah.
Based on his drawings, it'll have about a 7.5-foot tall parapet wall that'll separate that common deck from the street.
Okay.
Can you elaborate on this parking?
Yes,
Can you
yeah,
elaborate on the parking in the rear here and
in the rear.
ownership of that?
That's, right now, that's what's confusing. And we're basing our drawings right now off of visual information and existing conditions. But even as of yesterday, we found John, that the adjacent building next to the alley, the property line goes to the center of that alley, not to the building over front of it. That's just based on dimensions. How things work at the rear is also, needs to be firmed up exactly as to how it's going to happen. Now, one thing that the city has concerned over is trash pickup and everything that's already going on back in that alley. And as you can see here, we're saying we're going to pave everything back there over new, including the alley, for access to the dumpsters that are actually beyond this site. But also the dumpster location here on this for this building would be such that they can be rolled over. The truck can back up, roll over, pick it up, and then they have to just roll it over sideways to get back into the dumpster location that we've worked on right now.
Is this the infamous Tony's Alley?
Yes.
So I see you're going to replace the retaining wall that's crumbling
Yes.
back there?
Yes.
Is that good?
Yes, and that's the building that's at the, on that, again, the proposed site plan, the gray area, existing building, adjacent lot, that's the one that's way up there on the, and there's walls underneath it that we have to be very careful not to undermine, because it's actually a whole floor above, or the floor level of that garage that is serviced off that alley is above the roof of the existing Lamborn's building right now, at this rear elevation.
Okay, so is that, what's the one uphill is goods, is that goods? That's a capital shaped one? In terms of going along, I see Obetti's on one side?
Yes.
And
Betty's
then-
is the 10-foot 11 strip between the
Yeah.
buildings.
Okay, and the one uphill from it is
That's the good building.
good building, okay, that's what I thought.
Let's put all these together.
Do you have,
And then maybe you guys can get a
okay.
clearer picture. See if I can do it upside down.
I guess one of the other questions I have is you're really going to add 20 more people to this mix there. What, does anybody have any, John, does anybody have any data on the capacity of the shared dumpsters and recycle
I-
bins there?
I have made it a requirement of him to...
Yeah, just pass them along, we'll figure it
Well,
out.
there is a photograph, and you gotta put them all together.
It's a panoramic scene?
What I said,
Okay.
panoramic, so if you kind of picture them, put them all together, that'll help.
Yeah, well, I've been back there, have a good idea what's going on here.
Is this parking garage enclosed?
Yes.
Yes.
And it will be accessed by automatic opener, it will not be open.
The capacity of the dumpsters that are back there now, I would say, are at their maximum with our centralized trash pickup that we have back there. So I have made it a requirement that they incorporate 1 or 2 more dumpsters back there. The way that the trash haulers currently pick up the trash, and this was the requirement of them paving everything back there, the truck cannot maneuver once it gets back in there. So by paving everything or concreting everything, they can push them, as they do the ones we have there now, to the back of the truck and load them, unload them, and then push them back to their location that they can be. But basically, once that truck backs in there, he cannot maneuver. It's a straight shot.
That makes more sense.
So on his plan, you can see where they have proposed to put the 1 or 2 dumpsters that would basically slide out into the path of the alley that's coming back, directly in line with it. As John has indicated, I have made it a requirement that they definitely get this surveyed and any title searches and clean up everything that's going on back there in regards to setbacks, easements, property lines, because it's a quandary, and I think they're figuring that out, so. But, and like I said, one of the other requirements that I told them already is that they concrete pave the entire thing and storm sewer back in there and clean that entire alley, cubby, whatever you want to call it, back in there, clean it up. I have spoke with one of the other property owners that would probably be most greatly affected by this, and he's actually in favor of it, if they're willing to do all this and clean everything up. He understands that there will be a little bit of congestion, but I'm not so sure. I shouldn't say I'm not sure, but we'll find out about that as they get it surveyed as to how the parking lays out.
Same. I mean, it's bigger, but it's the same.
The city already has paved, concreted in a part of that space back in there. Maybe those photographs show it. I think this will
Yes.
not do the
pretty good.
whole thing, but it'll take the
There's the
majority
rest.
of that area and clean it up.
Now, B2D covers the parking for the business.
Correct. And it'll be 1-to-1 ratio on the bedrooms.
So, John, a question for you. For poor drivers or limited drivers or great big cars, is the access going to be adequate?
There'll be different, because of the odd shape of the
Streets.
building, there should be, you'd almost have to, and some cars, little cars would be better off, and big ones would be more suited for certain other spots within the facility. There is ample room, more than I'm trying to make sure that it does work.
That you own, or that he owns it, right? Make sure he owns it.
Yeah. I mean,
Is access off of State Street desirable for us, or is it the only thing anyway?
I'm sorry, excuse me.
I'm just wondering, I'm just talking to myself, actually. Is access off of State Street, that's the way they're coming in, West
That's
State?
correct.
I mean, that would be 20 cars. Well, I guess it's...
Well, I really do look at this as long-term storage parking. I can't imagine that they're going to drive to school or anything from this park. I mean, I don't know. We are providing
I
bicycle...
wouldn't drive to school, but they might.
Well, they live right uptown, but we're going to provide bicycle rack services and all that other, that people will be more encouraged not to use their cars from this location, more so than a lot of other locations, I think, because it is much more convenient. Hopefully, they won't be. It is, you have to be careful coming out. I've done it numerous times over the last 2 weeks, drive up the alley and then come back out onto West State Street, and you can't just come flying out of the alley because you cannot really see people. Maybe there should be, some kind of a warning, some kind of a mirror system or something that you can actually, and that would go for the trucks that must be backing out as well, dump trucks and stuff. I find that the only way to do it safely is to just very slowly creep out into the sidewalk, and
Just like my
because they're
house.
going to see the hood of the car before they see you. But again, not everybody is probably careful.
It looks like you're maximizing the entire rear property in addition to the parking garage.
That's correct.
But there are cars parked there now.
Yeah.
Legally?
I think that they're part of, that's all the same lot, so I don't know who parks there, but
I thought we even had a...
they must be
picture
leased or
of it.
something.
Oh, yeah,
we do.
they're a bunch.
Here's where...
Over there. Oh.
Yeah, but I can show you.
Want to see some?
We're actually figuring on putting fewer cars back there than there are now.
Pull right here, that van is sitting here, that's on Krause's property, that van is.
Okay.
And then the other parking is on this side, it'll be behind Wings Over and Paulers and that. So that's the only, and then the dumpsters are sitting about right here.
We have delivery vehicles coming out of there. Do they deliver for Wings Over and not? Okay,
Yes.
so there is a delivery facility. Okay, so you get, that's where most traffic's
That's where most of our traffic is.
going on now.
So this centralized recycling remains, and then an additional centralized dumpster goes in?
Correct.
And recycling?
We're adding dumpsters.
So, while they're looking at pictures, does it go, that's not, the front of the building, and then it goes down to a common deck, and then it goes up?
Back up, correct.
Will that be okay? I mean, the front of the brickwork on the front?
It's no different than it is now. There's just an attic above that right now. It's just a higher ceiling in that front area.
I just wondered if it would,
No, it will not be unstable.
okay.
So basically, these three.
Looking at the footprint
This one.
of the parking area, I see you have some support poles in there. Are they actually to scale? I mean, will people be able to maneuver in there?
I'm sorry, what do I have there?
So I assume that's support poles between lots, parking
Yes.
lot number 7 and 8, and 2 and 3.
This is not to scale, the drawing that you have right in front of you. I mean, it is when I drew it, but yes, it's,
So people have to maneuver around those.
I tried to do it as easy, and that might change too, but I'll make sure it works, but I don't have them every spot, so I know that makes it a lot easier for people to maneuver around those posts. I think there's over 18 feet between the posts. It should be ample to make the turns.
Okay.
Would it be beneficial to have something on the sidewalk or a wall joining the sidewalk for pedestrians, just to, I don't know, the green and white labeling on the sidewalk itself, just to, since it is such a small space, people kind of lost in their own world?
We have to think about that, Ajay. We don't have that in any other alleys, like all through uptown, that creep out, even, by the courthouse.
The one right across the street, that's right next to the parking lot.
Oh, Jimmy John's just
Yeah.
jumps right out there, yes.
Yeah.
They only have you only have like one speed bump like on Congress though, right? As opposed to the rest of the community?
It
Right,
doesn't
and
even work.
after that speed bump went in, the citizens wanted it removed,
Some citizens.
some citizens.
You don't want to put a speed bump on this alley. You'd
No,
have
we're not talking speed bump here, folks.
You can, I mean, I actually look in the windows of Casa across the street, and you can see people,
Yeah, reflection thereof.
reflection of them
I guess I
also.
would say if there's increased usage due to the project, I would assign that back on the project, and that's something we can look at when we get to staff review.
Assign, okay.
Do you
In terms of
mean-
trying,
RJ, do you mean just like a pavement treatment or
Yeah,
color or paint or something?
yeah, so it's something that might catch the eye a little bit more while somebody's walking through there. They're thinking about homework, they're thinking about whatever, and
Headphones on? and
Headphones,
Cell phone and
right.
texting, yeah, sure.
It is a new apron going in there. We did replace that just about this time last year, I believe.
Maybe we get some kind of like relief of somebody splattered on the ground or something like that, it's just like one of those little chalk lines or something. I mean, first thought was, oh, let's make it pretty, like an Essence of Athens. Then I could see they'd be looking at something like that and they could run over, so maybe we want something that has a little bit more oomph to it.
It's
panache.
interesting that we had the whole handicapped, accessible kind of discussion today. It makes me wonder if there's could be any improvement to enter into the business at the same time.
because of the step out front right now.
Pardon me?
Because of the step out
Yes.
front. Mhm. Well, we have to add bathrooms to they're not accessible right now, to the business. And I'm not sure what the state would say, but normally, whenever we make this kind of modification to a building, we have to bring it up to code.
What about handicap accessibility to second, third floor? You don't have an elevator in this mix, do you?
Do not,
Won't be
under 3
required.
stories, I don't need one from the state of Ohio.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
For 3 stories and under. Over 4 stories, then you have to have an elevator.
Okay. And when will you determine all the surveying and all the...
I'm meeting the surveyor this afternoon.
Have you ran this out far enough to determine what, if any, variances are going to be required related to this?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Fire
They just have been
suppression?
introduced to this project is about as recent, just this week.
Okay. Fire suppression issues would be...
It'll have to be fire suppressed because of parking and mixed use, so,
Okay.
correct.
Yes, everything will be a fully sprinkled building.
And just so there's no surprises again, there's no balcony.
No balconies.
There's not a walkout terrace.
Well, this terrace thing, but it will not be,
They'll have to lob the bottles over the parapet.
It's not over the sidewalk, it is on the roof of their property, over top of the business.
we're not
area.
changing the fenestration of the existing buildings.
Fire trucks already, they can't go back there anyway,
No.
right? So, okay.
They'll pull out.
Absolutely.
They can come down that alley, but
And it's sprinkled.
There's no
It's
way,
different from everyone else.
I don't think they'd ever get to the ladder truck or the big truck down there, there's no way.
onto the terrace.
9 feet, 3 feet. So the parapet's going to be about 6 feet above the common deck. Is that what I'm seeing?
I'm measuring 5.5, and then you got 2 foot above that, and then you got the architectural detail on top,
Okay,
so
so
it
really what we're
really is
talking about
7.5, 8
is
feet.
This deck will actually not be observable from, somebody standing on there having a martini or something like that would not be visible from the street.
That is correct,
Okay,
based on this.
based on this.
And their noise will run right back to them.
Yeah.
You say restrooms for the business, so there's going to be a change of use of the business. Could I just extrapolate out that possibly it might be serving alcohol? or-
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I don't know who it is exactly, but I think it's another retail. They've already,
good.
they want to sign a lease right now, so.
I see you put in here some, in the location map, electrical overhead. So we had a conversation with the staff about trying to rewire this area?
AAP would like to do a whole uptown rehabilitation project, but it's not forthcoming at this moment.
These are existing right now, the ones we're showing here.
I was just wondering if things would change.
It's my recommendation when they're looking at this, that possibly that utility pole that's right there in the center of this whole thing, if, after talking with Mr. Kraus, and if this gets cleaned up even more back there, that utility pole kind of falls right in the middle of this whole thing, so maybe that being relocated. But again, that's just basically generically talking about it right now, which I did yesterday afternoon.
Well, I think if the plans were presented to AAP, maybe they, want to
We'll
at
have
least
to go
start-
through with them,
Right.
because we're going to increase the service of this building, so they're going to have to do something.
Yeah, maybe that's a conversation with them. I don't think we have other questions.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you now.
You want the pictures back, John?
Yeah, I'll take everything. Just the whole application's up there.
I was wondering if we wanted to, also, as long as we're doing Euro jumps here, if we wanted to maybe go ahead and have the city planner and John give their reports, just get that out of the way, if they're prepared,
Even if they're not prepared.
even if they're not prepared.
I'm prepared, I don't have
Why don't
anything
you
to
go
add
ahead
today, so.
and,
Did you hear? He just said he was prepared. He has nothing to say.
So, I can fill you in a little bit, actually, since we're on the Historic Preservation Commission has a meeting on Monday. We are working on applying for that certified local government application. That was a recommendation from the city's comprehensive plan. We're going to try to get something in to the state by the end of this year. I think we're in really good shape to apply for it. Hopefully that would open up the city to some additional grants for historic preservation purposes, whether it's education, outreach, et cetera. And the city's Environment and Sustainability Commission had a regular meeting on Tuesday evening that just passed, and they are working on putting together some sort of a survey that they'd like to do a mail survey as well as an online survey in early 2014 to try to get some understanding of people's thoughts about sustainability and as well as some behavior, personal behavior with respect to energy efficiencies and opinions on energy efficiencies and alternative energy and things along those lines.
Any questions?
Good discussion there.
No, I'm just thinking how the aggregation passed, and so
That was brought up on Tuesday as well. It was before the polls closed, so that they weren't aware of any results yet, but they did state at that meeting that if the city is going to, if that measure passed, that the Environment Sustainability Commission would like to be a support or be part of the discussion with council and the administration.
Okay.
I believe they were going to send a letter to council on that.
Okay, and 013213 was going to move your historic preservation and architectural preservation. They're going to move the two alternates.
Correct. Right.
It's in its first reading.
Yep.
Just so you know.
Debbie Walker and Chris Fall and Debbie Walker and I have been taking care of that earlier this week.
Okay, and we were at the Zero Waste meeting yesterday, last evening, and some of the conversation actually did talk about trying to, I think I brought up, actually delineating a set number for where to put recyclables as well as trash. In other words, the terminology we have is adequate is not adequate.
Oh, right, from a zoning perspective. Site
yes.
plan review, right.
So that's something to think about in our mix as planning commission.
I had a communication with, and I apologize if I'm getting off subject, the planning director or one of the planners from Oxford, Ohio, about 6 months ago contacted me and asked what
We do.
they were looking into their language on that issue and asked me what we had, and I said, we just say something about adequate facilities and then we review it at the Title 40, at a site plan review level, just to make sure that things exist, but we don't really take into account how much size might be needed or what shape. I don't think so.
I kind of look at that.
Well, we do,
Yeah.
but like the language, our language in code isn't specific as far as,
There's a requirement per number of gallon of cans, or the size gallon
Right.
can per unit, so.
Per rental unit.
Per rental unit, so we'll look at it if the area that they're defining will accommodate those number of cans. And then
okay.
hopefully behind the front edge of the house and screened in, so.
Part of the conversation last night, of course, was trying to encourage recycling in the multi-apartment complexes and the multi-housing units. I think the dialogue was there is that, there are people who are in, apartment complexes who would like to recycle. Their way of doing it would be to take the tub and bring it out to the side of the street. The next conversation, of course, maybe it should be centralized, and if we ever go to single stream, even more centralized with the dumpster, and therefore, how do you determine adequacy? I know Nancy's aware of the fact that what's the one on Stewart and Mill? Trash there at the corner, I forget what it's called.
Oh,
Yes,
Is barely adequate for that type of...
It's not adequate.
it's not adequate.
Okay, I was trying to be kind.
Be blunt.
Okay, so you can see where we start trying to determine, we have determinations on a residential house, so many bedrooms, so many cans. But when it kind of gets fuzzy when we get to the larger size. So that's something to think about. That's why I brought it up. We're in particular, this project right here we just talked about.
I think the former clean group, Keep Athens Clean and Beautiful group is working and striving on that right now as well. It's one of the things we've been working on, and whether that comes into the multi-stream and the different cans and so on and so forth, and that's been looked at, so.
I think what I thought what I was heard referencing is maybe code word changes.
Yes.
Okay.
Be a little bit more concrete about what we required. I mean, we just look at a schematic there, we're going to add 20 beds and an extra dumpster or an extra recycle, and that's servicing the entire section of that particular block,
Right.
isn't it?
I guess what I'm saying is the code wordage changes we may not want to do until we know what's going to come forward with this other stuff we're talking about. Tie it all together as one.
Okay.
Frankly, we don't change code very rapidly, basically.
Anything else for Paul? John, did you want to go ahead?
I would like to state that the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for next week has been changed to Wednesday night, November 13th, due to Veterans Day and the city being closed Monday. Therefore, City Council is being moved back to Tuesday night, so we will postpone BZA evening. And we currently have 3 cases on that agenda right now. The first one's at 138 North Lancaster. That's a front porch that they used to have on the house. They took it off years ago. They like to put it back on. The existing front edge of the house is on the property line. So not only is it 0 front yard setback, the front porch that they're proposing will be in the city right-of-way. So they would need a revocable license. The houses on either side, or at least one side, sticks out farther than the requested porch, but it too is in the city right-of-way.
Is that for sale, John?
No,
Okay.
138 is not.
Okay. There was one for sale that was where the realtor was actually saying could be converted to a two-family house, and I thought about calling you, but I always remember at 10 at
It's
night.
interesting you say that, because I am speaking at the Realtors Association meeting in 2 weeks, and that's one of the issues I'm going to talk about with them.
Yeah, I think the
So,
person is, was, okay,
but,
thank you.
Yeah. We also have the 101 Elmwood request for a fence in the front yard. It would be in the front setback. That is at the corner of Elmwood and Shannon. So it's two sides into the front yard setback that they were looking to do a 6-foot tall privacy fence. They have 0 backyard. Their rear property line, the back side of the house sits on the rear property line. So that's their request.
Has anybody reviewed it for line of sight issues on the corner?
I have told them that right now it's back far enough, but once we determine more, it is something I will look at,
Okay.
that's for sure.
No problem.
I've told them that we have to have that 10-foot triangle on the corner. As of the way it is right now, the street with the right-of-way is, because of the right-of-way width back out there, that 10-foot is beyond the line of sight, but we will definitely look at that.
Okay.
And then the last one is at 18 and 20 Fern. This one will be a little bit more lengthy in discussion, I imagine. It is to raise those two buildings and erect a 3-story residential building with parking underneath, with no commercial use on the first floor. So,
This is something that's been, I think I talked to the appellant, Russ Chamberlain, I think, has been
Yes,
pushing
yes.
this. And again, there's a similar structure that's on Fern already, and he's
Correct.
just, I don't know if the landscape changed since then, in terms of how we want things done, so,
that's correct.
yeah.
So actually, we'll have parking from 2 levels, one from Fern and one from the alley behind Carpenter Hall. So, and then the residential goes from there up, so.
And he's not using any of the city right-of-way.
Sorry?
He's not using any of the city right-of-way there.
No, he's not.
Okay.
As far as his parking requirements, et cetera. But he's got a full length with parking curb cut, so to speak, but it's in an alley.
So need a variance for that. 'Cause
No, that's only required in R1, 2, and 3. So it's
Okay.
not required for business zones.
Okay.
Is he accessing a parking lot on the second level, as you described it, through a parking lot?
He's accessing it through the alley that runs, there
alley that
there
runs
is an
down the
alley
hill?
that's
Yeah.
between Carpenter Hall and where Carpenter
Okay.
Hall parking lot is. There's an alley that runs
Okay,
through there.
that's good.
So, and then the Shade Tree Commission is still on schedule for Thursday evening, November 14th, and we do have one case going through that. It will not be a Title 41, but Casey Bowen with Hoon Construction is requesting to build their office building for Hoon Construction on that. The property at the end of Harold, as you go back to the visiting nurses building, that big parcel there has been in their family for quite some time. They're looking to relocate their construction offices there.
That's floodplain, is it?
It is.
What's the zone on that?
That is P3, I want to say. I'm
Okay.
almost sure it is.
How about our storm sewer, too? Isn't there
Storm
one of those-
sewer, Andy's done quite a bit of, actually, the city went ahead and had all of that engineered, and we've got that all figured out. They're not going to have to do anything, but if they want to do a lot split on this property sometime, then we're into a situation where an easement might have to be granted, the city might have to take that over, that pond will have to be filled, there are a number of things. So it's, that, we'll go with that as the property, if it ever proceeds to the point where they want to do a split. But as of right now, nothing's really affected by where they want to build.
Isn't that retention pond necessary for flood control?
Not anymore. That was
Since
a,
we approved the storm and
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
I forgot.
so, but the engineer plan that we had done would take in all the runoff from the fairgrounds and from the buildings on Harold. Is it actually, Harold technically dead ends at the end, and then that's all
Private.
private back through there, so.
Okay.
If they wish to expand in the future, then yes, there's going to be, and we filled them in on these requirements, that they'll have to do quite a bit of maintenance agreements, or an easement, or turn it over to the city, or this will all have to be done, so.
Who does own that roadway when it ends and it goes back to ACD?
It is owned by, wait a minute, I looked that up. Visiting Nurses Building, Sheltering Arms is who I believe owns it, but there is an easement to all the property owners to be able to use that. But it's kind of ironic, because there's another easement at the beginning when the turn of the road actually goes through Hoon's property. So there's an easement from Hoon's to all of them, and then vice versa once they get past their property back in there.
My memory said there was some portion of the Hocking Canal in that area. Is there anything, do you know anything about that?
That there is, and that's the reason that
Jefferson.
where that
Jefferson used to be the canal.
Okay.
yeah, along the railroad bed there, and that's the reason that one of the reasons that pond is there, because that's where all the flooding and everything was occurring. The water coming off the fairgrounds back in through there. When the city redid the Harold Avenue
Storm sewer?
storm sewer system, it's now large enough. That was for retention, but it's now large enough to handle all that. But as the pipe that's in there still lays, the retention pond is still necessary as the pipe is installed to this date. But if it was to ever be upsized or upgraded or whatever, then it could come out. So
Okay.
So we won't see that project.
you will not see that project.
Trees.
I mean, we'll see it.
But
Just won't
yeah, it's not
review
Title
it.
41.
Right.
I can reassure you that EPW and myself are looking at it very closely, make sure, but in the future, what happens back there.
And then there's the Madison project.
Madison?
Anyway,
I don't think that's doing anything, is it?
no, I don't think so. Okay, anything else for John?
No.
Okay. Thanks, John, appreciate it. Let's see, it is 12:50 right now. I will leave it to the commission how far in depth, or if you want to move discussions for the next meeting.
Well, I would recommend moving the discussion to the next meeting.
There you go, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So the next, in terms of announcements, the next meeting will be November 21st in these chambers at noon, and the community is welcome to attend. We encourage it. Anything else?
I did make copies of both controls, but we can pass them out next time rather than have to
Yeah,
use
no.
them this time.
Okay. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.